We're kind of wrapping up on the Pelicans, moving on to the NFL. Uh, there's a lot of big names being thrown out there for trades. As of right now, there's Julio Jones and Aaron Rodgers. What do y'all think about the Saints possibly getting one of those two guys and like the possibilities moving forward, even though we don't have like the cap space for them?
No fucking way.
I agree. There's no fucking way that happens. I was seeing Twitter going all over it and saying that they're gonna that Julio's coming to the Saints. It's not happening, guys. Come on.
No.
Be real. They're not going to trade him inside the NFC South.
They're asking for a first round from everybody else. They would ask for 3 from New Orleans.
Yeah. I just don't see it happening.
But, it's still, it would be nice to get Julio out of the NFC South. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, so who do you think he's going to go to?
I know he went, all this kind of exploded because Shannon Sharp called him on live TV without him. I don't think he knew he was on TV, but
I was about to ask. Did he
said
know?
he wanted out of Atlanta, and then Shannon Sharp brought up Dallas, and he was, talking about how he wants to win. So, Dallas could be a destination. I think New England could maybe be a destination too. They spent a ton of money in free agency this offseason, so I don't know if they have any left, but Belichick seems to be able to find a way to make it work.
You know a team that I've actually heard a lot? The Arizona Cardinals.
Their wide receiver core would be...
That would be absolutely ridiculous. I just don't see how they do it.
Him and D-Hop?
Imagine him, D. Hopkins, and somebody else sitting in like a trips,
Well,
like a bunch of trips or something
too.
like that. It'd be near impossible to stop. Even if you put Julio on the backside and have DeAndre Hopkins and some other people over there on the trip side. There's a lot of stuff that they can do with that. That's going to be really special. The question is can they get him? You know what I mean? Can they pay more than anybody else to get him?
Well, that's got to be the deal with...
Pay thing. It's going to be draft picks.
Yeah.
That Atlanta wants the draft capital, so I don't know. It's going to be a tough trade, but if somebody doesn't offer a first round pick for Julio, they're out of their mind.
He's got to be like 31, 32 at this point. He's still Julio Jones. I'm not saying his production hasn't dipped at all. He's still Julio, but do you spend a first round?
Yeah, especially after Tom Brady this year, the value of these veteran playmakers and just like dominant older players, it just can't be overstated. So I think teams are going to jump on it.
I'm just trying to think. I don't know. Dallas would obviously be insane. That would just be another insane wide receiver core. Because who do they have? They've got Gallup, CeeDee Lamb. They'd have Julio.
Don't they have Amari Cooper? Yeah, Amari
Cooper. Yeah.
I don't think Gallup. I think Gallup's gone.
Is he?
I could be wrong though.
I have no clue. I know that he was there, and I think there might have been a report saying that he was gone. But even if Julio goes there, he's not going to be playing much anyway. He's kind of the last guy in that rotation, and if Julio gets there, he's going to be shoved down another spot on the roster or whatever. So I don't know, man. But what about Aaron Rodgers? There's a lot of reports saying out there that Green Bay is going to do everything they can to keep him, and that there's really not a sign of any serious discussions between any teams. Denver was rumored at one point because I think there was a picture of Aaron Rodgers and John Elway playing golf or something like that, which might be tampering. They said they wanted to look into that. But, there hasn't really been many reports of the Broncos in a couple weeks now. Everybody's silent. There's no news coming out about this.
I don't think Green Bay is entertaining any offers. I bet people have called. I just highly doubt they're really because they've said over and over they don't want to trade him. They've done nothing. They've done everything to piss him off, and nothing to want to keep him there.
Do you think that Julio Jones could be the Band-Aid over this little wound that they have brewing?
It'd be a great Band-Aid.
How sick would that be if we're talking about these two guys? Why don't they just do a trade deal between those two teams? Atlanta is in desperate need of something other than Matt Ryan.
No, Atlanta's buying into Matt Ryan. They still think Matt Ryan's got 3 to 5 more years.
Yeah, they think that
What?
he's got everything. They think that he's got everything they need, and I don't think that Aaron Rodgers would want to play for the Falcons. I honestly think that he'd rather retire. I mean, he's Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? He's got the name power. He's got everything he needs to retire. So at this point, it's just how long does he feel like putting his body at risk to win? So I think he's serious about retiring if Green Bay doesn't trade him. I don't think he plays another snap for Green Bay unless they make
No,
a big
I
trade and
don't.
somehow convince him.
I think he'd play for him again, but they'd have to do. I don't think he's gonna retire. I mean, I know the whole thing with the Did y'all hear about Jeopardy? You know, he's a huge
Yeah.
Jeopardy fan, and Alex Trebek died, so he wanted to be the host.
And he
can do
hosted one
that.
or two. He was good.
He will. He will do that at some point. I just don't think he retires from football right now to do that. He's gonna play another snap. I think if Green Bay doesn't trade him, and if they'd find a way to mend that relationship, he could play in Green Bay again. But and we haven't heard much from him, so we don't know necessarily how true all of these reports are about, how bad it really is between the two sides.
Yeah, and I mean, he dropped this kind of bombshell. I think the only thing he really said was on draft night. He wanted it known that he he leaked it, that he wanted to trade and stuff like that during the draft.
Schefter said that he just ran with that story. I don't think he had really a whole lot of sources. I think Adam Schefter came out and said he kind of just ran with that story.
I mean, dude, that's one hell of a story just to get out there and start saying, because that's a thick story that could change a lot of lives.
Fully false, but I think it might have been pumped up a little bit. I think it's been kind of stated that it was a little pumped up.
I mean, dude, to me, Adam Schefter is one of those guys that he's really popular with a lot of athletes. So I don't think he goes out there and pushes that story without Aaron Rodgers or somebody pushing that narrative. You know what I mean? Like, he wouldn't bring up one of the biggest names in football like this if he didn't have some sort of insider information beforehand, even if it wasn't as thick and as credible. Maybe as he would have liked. You know what I mean? I feel like he would have had a discussion with either
someone
in allies in the Packers or with Aaron Rodgers. So,
yeah, I'm sure he had something, but I thought I heard something not long ago that it was a little blown out of proportion on draft night, because it was a huge. I remember what you're talking about. It was a gigantic story.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was going to see him traded that night the way they were talking.
I think a lot of people did. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that he was going to go to Denver, and Green Bay was going to do either draft a young quarterback or finally fully embrace Jordan Love, who, by the way, he wasn't even the backup last year in Green Bay. I mean, what was the thought process behind that pick if he's not at least your backup? I mean, there's no thought process there from this organization. And if I was Aaron Rodgers, I'd be pissed. I mean, I can't even name off the top of my head the last time they went and drafted like an offensive weapon, like a receiver.
It's been since like 2002 or 2008. It's been forever that they've drafted a skill player.
Yeah. I mean, I think it might have been either like Jordy Nelson or James Jones, one of those two. I think those are like the last couple picks.
Or a defensive player. I mean, they have some defensive spots that they needed help at, and last year they just punted that pick and picked a backup quarterback. They traded up in the first round to get a backup quarterback. So I mean, it's just like they're doing everything to piss him off and make him not want to stay there.
Yeah, I bet he finally realizes how Brett Favre felt when they drafted him. Brett Favre went and got a trade and stuff like that. So it's crazy we've kind of come full circle in that organization. And, in all fairness to the organization, name another team that's had two back-to-back superstar quarterbacks like this other than like maybe the 49ers back in the day with Joe Montana and Steve Young. So, I mean, to their credit, it's worked up until recently. You know what I mean? I think it's kind of alienated. I think players have more power nowadays than when Brett Favre was in the league. So maybe that has something to do with it. But, like, if Jordan Love pans out, everyone's going to be saying how smart this organization is, even though they just lost probably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. In my opinion, he's at least top 5 in pure talent.
Does that lead us into our next discussion about college quarterbacks? Top 5? Or no, our rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah, man. And talking about organizations draft.